Sound the alarm, Mets fans. We just got some major breaking news in regard to the New York Mets. We're going to break it down for you next on Metcast. What's going on, Mets fans? Welcome back to another offseason edition of Metcast. As always, I am Rain. If you're enjoying this content, all I ask you to do is like and subscribe. Consider becoming a member of the channel. It is the best way to support the channel and gets you engaged live with our audience when we do our weekly lives and with our guests. So if you want to become a member, be sure to check out the pinned comment in the comment section. Click the link and become a member. And with that said, something that we've been talking about as Mets fans for a long time is this team needs a legitimate ace at the top of this rotation, not somebody who's going to be up and down, not somebody who's a question mark. And yes, I consider Dylan Cease, who just went to the Toronto Blue Jays on that 7-year, $210 million contract, not to be an ace. Let's be real. San Diego let him walk after having a 4.5 ERA, but Hector Gomez just reported the New York Mets are in on this ace and have a potential massive contract offer. Let's take a peek. So we have this tweet from my co-host Dan Bartels of the New York Post. You all know him. The Mets are the favorites to sign Framber Valdez to a 6-year, $200 million contract. And as we get into this, I want you guys to know a pitcher Dan has been talking about all offseason, $33 million a season, something we talked about yesterday after Cease signed, because Cease got the 30. Framber's 32 this year, so it'd be 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, and age 37 season. Now, let's go over a little bit of his stats. We all know the perennial postseason pitcher he is, and he's one guy that I said I'm not totally sold the Mets should go after, but listen, if the Mets sign him via free agency, it means you then have your pieces to potentially trade for, I don't know, Fernando Tatis Jr. That's my hope. Maybe it's him, Alonso, and a piece. Maybe the Mets say, screw it. We're just going to spend money like crazy, which we all know Steve Cohen can do. And coming off a 2025 campaign where he wasn't as crazy as successful as he has been in the past, but he is steady, a 3.66 ERA. And one thing he did that the Mets pitching staff did not do all season long, he pitched 192 innings pitched with that ERA plus of 114. I mean, everything seems to be right in line for this guy. You'll look over his entire career, he averages 8.8 strikeouts per 9. Last year, dead on that, 8.8. 2.75 strikeouts to walk ratio, which is a little bit lower than over the last few years. He had a 307, a 351, a 290 when he was a Cy Young finalist. I believe that was just a couple of years ago when he was 5th in Cy Young. And just as of 2 years ago, he was 7th in Cy Young. Last year, the whip rate was slightly up, 1.245. Typically, it's around a 1-1, but his career is a 1-2. He pitches to contact. He's one of those guys. He's not going to strike out the world, but he did have 187 strikeouts last year, and in the year prior, in just 176 innings, which is still a ton of innings, and 198 the year before that, he had 169 strikeouts and a 200 respectfully. This guy we all know is the real deal. Last year, his hits to 9 innings, so how many hits he gives up per 9 was slightly up. It was at 8, so it's just under 1. But the home runs remain steady, which is great to see. Coming to a pitcher-friendly ballpark in Queens, if this were to come through, 0.70 home runs per 9. It is the exact same in 2024, and it was actually slightly higher, which is worse in 2023. Then you get to the walks. That's what hurt him last year. His walks were up slightly, 3.2 per 9, up from 2.8, 2.6, and 3.0. But then when you take his career as a whole, which like we like to do here, his career average is 3.2, and he was dead on last year. We all know the postseason success that he has. He become the immediate number one ace of this staff. And I'm telling you, I said it the other day on our live. Dylan Cease getting the contract that he did from Toronto is going to drastically, and I mean drastically, potentially, in my opinion, upgrade and increase the value of a Kodai Senga who was an all-star half of the season last year with that 1.5 ERA, could have easily been an all-star, but that's something that fell off at the end of the year. Valdez, 13-11 last year, 15-7 the year before, 12-11 the year before that. And his ERAs, we could break that down as well, all the way back to 2021. 314, 282, 345, 291, 366. This guy is a gamer. Listen, one thing we need to address. We all saw it. It was very obvious. He intentionally hit his catcher last year. Now, whether or not the Mets have enough veterans in this clubhouse to kind of mold that back, take that back, but he's a dog. He's a gamer. He's a guy that's not happy when he's not successful. And coming to a sold-out Citi Field, I think he would only be better. And it's not like he's over the hill. And it would make sense. 6 years. I would hope the Mets could get it done potentially for 5 years. 6 years at that contract has the potential not to be good on the back end, but you look at it like this. Him, Sean Manaea, and David Peterson, Noah McLean at the top of this rotation, those four guys. Obviously, you have Clay Holmes, and then maybe you add another starter on top of that. The big reports coming out of this season is that the Mets were trying to add not one, but two front-end starters. So maybe they add Valdez via free agency and then trade for another pitcher on the back end. But it's exciting news for us because, let's be real, if the Mets are able to land him, you bring Alonso back, left field is still wide open. And I'm telling you right now, I would not put it past Steve Cohen to go out there and blow the doors off of a Kyle Tucker or a Cody Bellinger. There's been a lot of talk. You listen to the guys over on SNY, the Harpers, the Salicatas, the Anthony McCarrons. They all think the Yankees are going to do almost whatever it takes to bring back Bellinger, but we all know who the new sheriff is in town. It got showed last year. If David Stearns and Steve Cohen have their eyes on a prize free agent, money will be no option if they really want that. And that's something that we heard Gary Apple say just yesterday or the day before, talking about how he thinks the Mets should be pursuing Kyle Tucker. He doesn't think it's going to take the 10 for 400. It doesn't look like the market is as hot as we originally thought it was going to be for him. Now, yes, LA's involved, Toronto's involved, potentially the Mets, the Red Sox. If the Yankees lose out on Bellinger to, say, another team, they could be in on him, which obviously could then drive up the price. But I fully expect free agency to get underway, unlike what Bob Nightingale reported yesterday, saying, well, he expects the trade market to pick up rather than free agency. Well, hello. Then you get this Dylan Cease. Now we have this move, and it seems, or not move, but suggested move. Hector's been pretty spot on in the past. I'm not going to say he's batting 1,000, but he is a respectable guy, especially when it comes to the Hispanic players. He has an in on them, the Dominican-born players. Now, I'm not sure where Valdez is from, but we know that Hector is plugged in. But that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you smash that like button, and make sure, guys, a lot of you guys always say in the comments, Ray, I had no idea you released this video, or I had no idea you were live. Turn on those notifications and have the notifications on your phone on so you could stay up to date with all the latest in regard to our New York Mets as we head towards this triumphant, and yes, I'm hoping it is a triumphant 2026. As always, God bless. Let's go Mets. Take care.